Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us on the program. As Nigeria edges closer to the 2027 elections, the political temperature is rising. President Tinubu's chances of re-election are already under scrutiny. There are questions over disaffection in the north, the possible entry of a new challenger like Oyo State Governor Seyi Makinde, and the lingering influence of late President Muhammadu Buhari. At the same time, urgent reforms in the maritime sector are in the spotlight. The Nigerian Ports Authority is targeting over ₦1 trillion in revenue this year, even as investor apathy, we understand, leaves a $2 billion funding gap for deep sea ports. Experts are warning that Nigerian ports risk losing ground to regional competitors. So tonight, we're connecting the dots between politics and policy, between Tinubu's re-election bid and the economic future of Nigeria's blue economy. My guest is Senator Adeyeye, Chairman of the Board of the Nigerian Ports Authority and National Chairman of the Southwest Agenda for Asiwaju SWAGA. He's also a former Minister of State for Works and former National Publicity Secretary of Afenifere. Distinguished, you're welcome and thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me here this evening.
Absolutely. I'd like to begin with your current assignment because you've been Chairman of NPA Board now for over a year. While the authority is projecting record revenue for 2025, we hear that investor apathy has left a $2 billion funding gap. From your vantage point, how well positioned is the NPA to overcome these hurdles and deliver on its ambitious goals?
I believe that the general economic atmosphere which President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has created has positively affected the fortunes of major companies and corporations in this country, like the NPA is one of them. I think we now have a very business-friendly environment, and investors are coming in. I don't know where those figures are coming in, $2 billion funding gap, but you recently heard the news that Dangote was planning to build a deep sea port in Ogun State. That is more than 2 billion. I'm sure the cost will be more than 2 billion when it is completed. I was recently in Calabar, Cross River State, where I had opportunity of meeting with the governor. And as you are aware, the Calabar Deep Sea Port is also in the front burner. It's a joint venture between the state government and some foreign investors, and they're at an advanced stage. And I'm sure very soon work will start on the construction of that deep sea port. You are also aware of the fact that Akwa Ibom State too, the state government, is in partnership with some foreign investors as well. And they're also trying to build a deep sea port there. And on a recent trip to from Abuja to Lagos, I happened to be with the governor of Ondo State on that trip. We were in the same aircraft together, and we had the opportunity to discuss. And he also informed me that Ondo State is at an advanced stage, discussing with foreign partners on how to develop a deep sea port also in Ondo State. So all these investments are likely to be coming up, and I'm also aware that there is the idea of building a new port also in Badagry. So there is no funding gap as such, per se. I think the funds, the investors are seeing a very friendly government, a business-friendly government, and they are taking advantage of that. So I believe that whatever anybody may say about the funding gap will be a thing of the past very soon.
It sounds really good, and I like your optimism, but experts are also warning that Nigerian ports are losing to Tema and Cotonou. And there are questions of how prepared the NPA is to, make our ports more efficient and competitive. But you are projecting ₦1 trillion revenue this year. How realistic is that?
I think it's very realistic. I think we should even do better than that. I think we should do better than that. ₦1 trillion is not a big deal when you reduce it to dollar terms. If you look at it in dollar terms, we are not talking up to about $1 billion. Any efficient port, any good port in the world should be talking about $23 billion. So that's not too much. I believe our NPA will surpass that. Much more, we'll do better than that. So it's not a big deal at all. I think we can do better than that. Yes, it is a fact where some businesses we are losing some businesses to the ports in neighboring countries. But with the port modernization going on in our ports here in Lagos, Apapa and Tinkan, and the new ports coming on stream and better efficiency, better use of technology, I believe that Nigeria is the hub, the maritime hub, not only of West Africa, but even the whole of Africa. So whatever we are losing, we will soon regain, and I see a very bright future for the maritime sector in Nigeria.
Let's turn our attention to politics now, because you just launched SWAGA 2.0.
Yes.
And we heard you dismissing fears that President Tinubu may struggle in the North. You were quoted to have said, "I've not seen any person of real electoral value in the North opposing a second-term ambition." But Abubakar Atiku nearly pulled 7 million in the last election. Are you underestimating his influence and the possible coalitions in the North?
Atiku Abubakar, I will give him kudos if he's able to get maybe a third of that in the next election.
Why so?
The factors, because Atiku has bossed himself into a corner. He left a PDP, which is a well-established party, for an unknown quantity called the ADC, where all the actors, the founders of the party, are people who have lost electoral value completely, and which a party that Nigerians have not really embraced. I describe the ADC as dead on arrival.
Is in the coalition with Peter Obi. If you add the numbers they had in the last election, it was more than what
I am not sure he's even in coalition with Peter Obi to start with, but assuming he's even in coalition with Peter Obi, why Peter Obi? We had an election on Saturday. You saw the results by yourself. Peter Obi is from Anambra State.
Some say it's just a fraction of the real deal come 2027. I mean, just a few House of Assembly elections here and
there. You will know that is Yoruba proverb. Let me just, that translates roughly as if you will know how the day is likely to be from the morning. And from this election, you will see how the way Nigerians are thinking and the direction in which they are moving. You will begin to see from these by-elections that we're going to have, that we're having. Anambra governorship election will soon come, Ekiti governorship election will soon come, so also Osun governorship election. There are elections that will take place before 2027. And whatever happens in those elections will be an indication of the general feeling of Nigerians and what is likely to happen in 2027. But I can tell you from my little experience that indication, the election that took place last Saturday was around the whole country, in the north, in the east, in the west, and the APC performed exceedingly well. That is a fact, because people have been trying to more or less spring the idea around that, look, Bola Ahmed Tinubu policies are hurting the people. The inflation rate is too high, people's standard of living has fallen drastically, and people are not happy with the government. This has been the narrative from a lot of politicians who are in the opposition. But as you could see, the same people they are talking about, as they say the economic policies are hurting them, they are not doing well. They are the people who threw out in large numbers to vote for the APC in the last election.
I doubt, distinguish whether they trooped out in large number. There is the issue of voter apathy, which I'm sure you are aware of, that over the years we've not had up to 50% of registered voters come out for election. The opposition is also crying foul. They say that the elections haven't fared better under this administration. You saw the complaints from the PDP, the ADC, who had highlighted issues of violence and corruption in the recently conducted by-election.
Violence by who? If there is violence, it must be committed by whom? Who are the people arrested? From which political parties? From what I read also in social media, a lot of the violence was unleashed by opposition forces who are losing the election, not by APC. That is the truth, and you can cross-check, fact-check this from the police and the other security agencies. So violence by who? And if you, to me, we must give kudos to INEC. INEC have been improving steadily since 1999. They have been improving steadily. In 1999, I happened to have contested the election myself. It was an era in which of ballot slashing, of ballot stuffing, of extreme violence, of people just sitting in their houses and writing figures. But gradually we begin to use technology, and then you saw the use of beavers and all that. And that has drastically reduced the incidences of vote of election rigging. At least you don't talk of ballot snatching anymore. You don't talk of ballot stuffing anymore, because everything has to be backed up with the beavers. Everything has to be backed up with the figures in the beavers must tally with the virtual votes. So that has greatly reduced election rigging. For those who, the people come out and say all sorts of things, for those who are not initiated in these processes, for those who don't know, they will come and bamboozle you and say, oh, the election was rigged. How was it rigged? How was it rigged? People go in, they do biometrics, their identities are there, and then they go and cast their votes, and the votes tally with exactly what the Bible says. How is it?
You're not alluding to the fact that our process is perfect, and then it is fraud-proof.
Let me tell you, the process is not perfect. No system in the world is perfect. Even President Trump said it was rigged. Up to now, he has not accepted the result of the 2020 elections in America. So the process is not perfect anywhere. But even the one of Nigeria, we have taken extra measures.
I hear you. And
we have taken extra.
That's why critical stakeholders are concerned that under the Tinubu administration, we probably should have seen some upgrade, especially in the electoral laws, as a way of improving on what we had in 2023. But I want to stay with the politics of things for a while, because you have argued that President Tinubu didn't ride on Buhari's popularity in 2023. But there are also people who would say he probably wouldn't have won that election if Buhari didn't support him. Buhari is dead now, and that has left his cult following is 12 million votes. They say it's scattered in the north because there is no known political successor. You don't think that that's a big problem for the APC? I
don't think so. Politics is not mathematics. Because me and you belong to the same party, I had 20, you had 20, you had 40. Therefore, if only one of us is contesting, it amounts to 60. It's not like that in politics. People have their preferences. They have a reason why they are voting for one person or the other. I want to even say that a politician's vote, most of the time, is not transferable to another person. A lot of the time, it's not. So you find a situation in which, okay, President Buhari was constantly having at least 12 million votes. But the last election, Atiku did not get up to 12 million votes. You are aware of that. So where was the shortfall coming from? Are you saying Atiku did not win any votes on his own, in the 8 million that he had? A lot of the votes were his own votes.
But you agree that he doesn't enjoy the overwhelming support from the North as he did in 2023 today?
He's enjoying the overwhelming support. I think his support in the North has even risen. I believe that. And by the grace of God, the election of 2027 will bear me out of this assertion that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is going to win even more recently in the North than he did in 2023. There are many reasons why. Too many reasons why I can say that without any fear of contradiction. I will say that because, number one, the people have seen the benefits of his government in terms of security. The security situation in the North has improved tremendously, whether we like it or not. This is the fact. Some of the governors have testified to that. Some of the northern leaders have testified to that. We have not seen the expansion of the banditry into other areas. Don't forget that as of 2015, insurgency, banditry and terrorism was confined to the Northeast. But between 2015 and 2023, it has spread to the Northwest and even to North Central. It has not continued. That spread has been halted. And not only that, the banditry have been rolled back considerably. Kaduna is relatively a peaceful state today. In the past, it was one incident per day.
It is not the same with Benue and Plateau, for instance.
Well, but states like Kaduna, like Zamfara, like Kebbi, like Sokoto, they are witnessing better relative peace now. And we may talk of Benue, we may talk of Benue and Plateau in particular, not Zamfara. But yeah, we have incidences. But I can tell you it's been tackled.
Right.
And the overall picture is a better secured country in which people can be relatively sure of the security of their lives and property. So in terms of that, the northern establishment, northern masses, they see that and they appreciate the president for that. And the economy too. In the area of the economy, agricultural production has increased in the north. Food prices are coming down. The education trust fund, the NED fund, which is the education loan fund for university students, for students in tertiary institutions, that has greatly be of great benefit to people in the north, to students in the north, even more than the southerners, because 70% of recipients have come from the north. And I've seen videos of people jubilating and hailing Asiwaju and shouting and rejoicing.
Hold that thought for a minute.
Able to get that.
Because some have said that perhaps the biggest problem Asiwaju has now is that they are praising him too much, and that it might not give enough room for improvement if he feels like he's doing very well.